All right. What is going on, you guys? Captain Cody Davis back again for another video here, another episode of Tight Splice Charters. Really, the only sole purpose and the only reason we're doing this video is because I just want to talk about what in holy hell happened out on Lake Okeechobee today. Um, for those of you that maybe don't know who I am, my name is Cody Davis, and I am a full-time guide out here on Lake Okeechobee. I as well fish, pretty much any of the tournaments and all of the tournaments that happen out here. And today was, without a doubt, the craziest day in Lake Okeechobee history, in my opinion. From everyone I've asked, from what I've seen with my own eyes, today was one for the record books. And what I mean by that is, yes, it probably was the best day Lake Okeechobee has ever had as a whole. But I really think, this has got to be some sort of a record throughout the country. I don't know if I've ever heard of, and there may be some, I don't know, but I don't think I've ever heard of a weigh-in like this. So we'll kind of jump in here. For those of you that don't know, today we fished in the Roland Martin Marine Series number 1 qualifier of the year. Just so we're clear, this event is not just like show up, pay $20 and everyone go fishing. This was a 177 boat event with not only the best fishermen on Lake Okeechobee, but some of the best fishermen in the state of Florida. The Roland Martin Marine Series staff has done an amazing job at building this tournament trail up to what it is today. And they've just done an awesome job, and it's just drawn in anglers from all over the state to come compete on Lake Okeechobee. All the events for this series are held on Lake Okeechobee, and at the end of the year, we have a 2-day classic where we fish for $35,000, and it's been climbing each year, maybe more this year. We don't know yet. And this is on a $200 entry fee. Each event is $200, and then for the classic, you pay $300. But for $300, you're fishing for $35,000, and for $200, I'm assuming the winner took home over $7,000 today. It's pretty awesome, and they've done an amazing job. So this isn't, this is 170 today. Where some days some events have upwards of 200 boats, some have 150. Today, I think we had 177 boats competing out on the lake, out on the water. And when it was all said and done, there were 20 bags over 30 pounds weighed in. For 177 boats, they paid back 30 places, and it took 28.5 pounds to get paid. And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty damn sure this is accurate. I believe we had over 50 bags over 25 pounds. That's almost crazier to me than the 20 over 30. And for those of you that don't know, or maybe there's some people that are new to this whole thing and wonder why this is a big deal, every fisherman's goal when they put their boat in, slide their boat in off their trailer, put their life jacket on and start idling out, whether it's in a tournament, whether it's just fun fishing out here on Lake Okeechobee, is to catch 30 pounds. You're playing the game on a body of water that it's capable of it, and it's an amazing feeling when you do catch 30 pounds. To do it fun fishing is hard enough. All right, if you're out there, just have a phenomenal day. It's great. To do it not only in a tournament in general, but a tournament of this caliber, with this many boats, with this much competition, to do it at all is insane. And for it to happen over 20 times today is just, it's nuts. And I don't think it's ever been done on any other lake. And it could be. There might be people in the comments just already just typing away, telling me I'm an idiot, and that's fine. But it was surreal to see. It was crazy. So real quick, I'm just going to, well, first of all, here, I'm going to flash the leaderboard for you guys real quick so you guys can see it. All right. Insane. Crazy. Even though I'm not in there, you guys can notice my name, Cody. We only had like 22 pounds, 21 and a half pounds or something. Weird day, which we'll get into. I almost want to use that as like my wallpaper on my phone. It was crazy. And then while I was at the weigh-in, while I was BSing with all the guys and hanging out and watching this madness unfold, I did take some shots of some of the bags that were brought in. So here, I'll play those for you guys real quick.
Bag, Kel Stevens, Bradley McQueen.
Lake Junk.
Lake Junk.
Let me get that one on the right there. 1 second.
That's a pat on the back today. Great, Yoshida.
Woohoo! 1 second, there we go. Thank you. 1 second, guys.
Over 30. Okeechobee.
Big smiles. I like it. I like fucking. Second, guys. Let me get it.
Awesome. 2. Second place is 36-19. Third is 35-36. Fourth is 30.
Awesome. All the fish were big, fat, healthy. It was crazy to see. I mean, everybody had a giant bag. So, like I said, the 30-pound bag to most people is like a delay of a lifetime. I make a living out here. Have I guided people to 30 pounds? Yes. Have I caught it myself? Yes. In competition? No. I've done it fun fishing. I've guided clients to it. I've never had over 30 pounds in a tournament. And I know a lot of people that haven't. A lot of people that have been doing this for a long time that haven't. So it's a very, very hard thing to do. Now, there are a lot of people out there that do it more than others, and a lot of them had it today. But it was just unreal to watch those fish come over the stage and get held up for pictures and things. It was crazy. So what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I kind of blanked out. So a couple of weeks ago, some of you may have seen, we had the Jimmy McMillan Memorial Tournament out here on Okeechobee, and I was unable to compete in that one. But that day, we had 11 bags brought in over 30 pounds, which that was a record-breaking day in itself. And I think it was 37 pounds won that event. 36 pounds was second. In this particular event, obviously you guys saw there were two 36-pound bags, and 36 pounds obviously won it, almost 37 pounds. And sir, I apologize. I don't know who you were that won it. I haven't even looked at the names on the leaderboard. But it was him and like his 10-year-old son. So that's a day that they will never, ever, ever forget. So, you know, you got to remember, I mean, that's 5-6-pound fish is 30 pounds. So the amount of 6-pounders that were brought to the scales today was unreal. And even 7s. And I think big fish was only like 8.5 pounds. So what I was going to say, since that Jimmy McMillan tournament, the fishing out here has been rock star. Has been probably the best it's ever been. Now, real quick, I want to make something very clear. Fishing being great and fish being easy to catch are completely different things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was just go out there and catch them. If you knew what you were doing, you were dialed in, you were in the right areas, presenting the bait properly, you were getting big bites. And, leading up to this event, I had a few good guide trips, and I said it last night. I was supposed to make a really awesome video for this tournament that I was in because I was on a good bag of fish, I thought. And I did my intro last night, and I said tomorrow, whether I zero or catch 25 pounds or 30 pounds, tomorrow's going to be one for the record books. I literally called it. I sat in Okeechobee Fishing Headquarters. I told Mike we might see 40 pounds this weekend. It just, everything lined up. And, I got asked a lot at the weigh-in, like, what happened? Why is this happening? Why is it taking 35 pounds to win a night tournament? Why did it take 37 to win Jimmy and then Jimmy's tournament? And then now today it takes 36. Why are all these, what's going on? I don't know everything, but what I believe has happened over the last few weeks is, first of all, anytime you read online about Lake Okeechobee, everyone's going to tell you it's a wintertime fishery. Everyone's going to say the months between January and March are the best times to be here. And I don't agree with that. I think that's when a lot of snowbirds are sick of the cold, so they come down to Florida to get out of it. They go bass fishing. They obviously catch big bass. They send pictures back to their friends, their family. They go home. They talk about all these big bass they caught. They bring more people with them. And over the years, it's just been more known as the wintertime fishery. On top of that, back in the days of the FLW Tour, the Major League Fishing deal still does it now, the Elite Series, all the big tournament trails start their season in Florida. Why? Because the rest of the country's frozen over. So I think people have just taken it, well, then this is the best time to be here. You guys hear me say it all the time. There is no wrong time to be here. Anytime you can get down here, you have a chance at having an Okeechobee day. But in my opinion, this is when this happens. April through June is when this craziness happens every year. Actually, I just, when I got home, looked at my phone to look at some pictures and to get some notes put together to do this video. And 5 years ago today, I got second in the Jimmy McMillian Memorial Tournament because they do it on a different date every year. And I think we had 29.69, almost 30 pounds. We got second. And I know there was a lot of big weights right underneath me. So this is when this craziness happens. And what's happening right now is we had a very, very, very warm winter. But lately we've been getting these miniature fronts. And most of you from up north wouldn't even consider these cold fronts. It's literally dropping the air temp like 7 or 8 degrees. But we've had a lot of rain that's pushed with these fronts. So that rain cools that water temperature down a few degrees on top of the air temperature drops the water temperature, and it drops it down into that low to mid 70 range, which is where I believe our bass really like to spawn. 68 to 74 degrees is where I see the most activity, and a lot of times you'll see them on beds 75 to 76. And I think what that was doing is it was bringing in big waves of late spawners into these shallow water areas where we're fishing. And obviously the fishing was good. Now those fish, right, are starting to pull off. But on top of that, we're dealing with full and new moons. We're in May. All right. What happens in May around the moons? We have bluegill spawning, shellcracker spawning, Mayan cichlids, which are invasive, but bass don't give a damn between a cichlid and a bluegill. They're going to eat them just the same. So we have all these panfish staging to come in and spawn and or are spawning. And then we still have these little miniature like rain band fronts that drop that air temp down. So we have fish that just recently spawned that are done spawning. So now we're going to hang around because in those same areas they spawned, you have these panfish spawning, which is an awesome food source for big fish being over 5 pounds. And then we have more bass dumping into those same areas to spawn themselves also. So you just had this tidal wave of pre-spawning and post-spawn bass in these areas with these panfish that are spawning, which just makes for, well, a hell of a tournament and a hell of a month of fishing. If you go back and look at those fish, a lot of them are like that gunmetal grayish dark on top, and they have a super fat white belly. And what those are pre-spawn fish, obviously, that are coming in off that main lake to spawn. I think every bass me and Kelly weighed in today came off of a bed. We did not physically see it on a bed, but they were spawning. You flip the plastic to the place that looks like one should be spawning, let it lay on the bottom, count to 5, and the line would jump and she'd start walking off with it. You'd catch a little one, you unhook it, flip it back in there, count to 5, the line would jump, and you'd catch a female and her tail's literally bleeding on your boat. All right, it's a pretty good indication they're spawning. So we had fish spawning, and I saw a lot of mixed bags. I saw people holding up a 33, 32, 30-pound bag with 2 pre-spawners and 3 post-spawners, if you go back and look. So that's what I mean. You had fish that were in there to do their deal and spawn, and then you had ones that didn't have to go nowhere after they got done spawning, and they were fat or they were skinny and hungry, or they were lazy and hungry, so they hung out right there, and they were feeding on those panfish. I was talking to Jared McMillan and to Mike Krause, and they were telling me they were fishing around each other. They said it was the craziest thing, dude. You look out, and all you saw was people reeling in 6 and 7 pound fish and netting them, and between all the people, you just saw bass blowing bluegill and cichlids out of the water. So that's kind of what is. It's just the perfect storm has been going on here lately, and a lot of old timers have told me the biggest fish in the lake spawn last. It's a lot of people have told me that, and I mean, I can't argue. I mean, I've never seen this many fish over 6 pounds brought in before in my life. Um, it's a cool thing because it shows how many fish, how many big fish are really in this lake, and how little of the population we even touch. Uh, the other cool thing was the whole lake showed out. They caught them pretty much everywhere, really over the last week. There was a few select areas where a lot of those big bags came from, which I'm not going to get into because I wasn't in there. I know where it is, but I'm not going to blow spots up. But I know of a lot of people that fished that caught. I know of a few bags that were over 30 pounds that really never saw a boat. Me and Kelly caught. We should have had 25 pounds. We had a couple missed opportunities, put those opportunities in the boat. We have 25 pounds, which wouldn't even have got us paid. But we were in an area where we literally saw one boat, and the other boat that was in there after we left, he weighed in 28 pounds. So they were there. But the lake's fishing bigger than it has been over the last few months. So I think that's helping the fish also. I mean, it was literally when the invitationals were here, the elites, there was literally 3 places to catch a bass. Now with the water stabling out, the wind dying down, stuff starting to clean up, not only can you fish from the back hard line all the way out to the outside edge of the main lake, which is just making the areas that have been being fished bigger, but all up and down north and south of the lake, there are fish being caught, and a lot of big fish as well. So it's awesome to see. On top of that, though, real quick, I think it's really important to point out, I know the people in the state government, FWC, Fish, Game, and Wildlife, are going to look at this weigh and sheet, and they're all going to hug each other and fist bump and say, we're making this lake a better place. That's not the case. The lake is fishing phenomenal right now. It is. But if we don't get control over the water levels of this place and or the spraying that's been happening on this lake for a number of years, we're not going to see this for that much longer. What's crazy is, yes, this was the dumbest fishing we'll ever see, or probably for a long time, or have ever seen. But you got to remember, just 3, 4, 5 months ago, it was the toughest we had ever seen, which, that's kind of you don't want to see that. I mean, I think this was going to happen no matter what, this monstrosity of a day and a couple weeks that we've had, because it always happens this time of year. We always have this big push of fish with bluegill eaters and things. But how slow and how tough and how hard you had to work for fish months back was not normal. And a lot of it, some of it was due to the super high water and things. I get it. But the lack of vegetation due to the spraying that these guys are doing is harming the fish, and it's harming the lake. I said it today. I said, the lake is fishing better than it's ever been, but it's in the worst shape it's ever been. The fish are okay. The fish are healthy. The fish are going to adapt. They're going to do their thing. But what I tell people is, we were catching bass spawning in areas this year where you're like, why in the hell would they spawn here? This looks horrible. This has none of the ingredients that a bass wants to spawn in. A bass, when they have to spawn, they're going to spawn wherever they are. They're going to make do. That doesn't mean that those eggs are going to turn into fry and those fry are going to make it. If those bass lay their eggs in chocolate soup and sludge bottom, those bass are never going to become bass. Those eggs are never going to become bass. And the more and more we spray and we ruin, and along with high water as well, we take away this vegetation, which then in turn takes away these spawning pockets, these back bays, the clean water, the good bottom that these bass desperately need to have successful spawns in. I mean, how many more bad spawns, or how many more bad spawns can we go through to where we still see the lake showing out like this? You know what I'm saying? It looks great now. It looks great on paper, but They're killing this lake. So between the high water, that's another big one. I'm not blaming it all on the spraying, but the spraying has gotten out of control. They could say all they want that it only kills the targeted species. I think it's bullshit, but let's just say it's true. When you douse a hyacinth mat the size of this house that's fixated in a cattail head, which the cattails are native, and it sinks down to the bottom and covers that root system, what do you think is going to happen? All that sediment, all that gunk is going to block the sun from getting to the root system of our natives, and they die out. And our cattail walls are disappearing every week. And those cattails are what? Block the wind, so the water and the sediment doesn't get turned up in these backwater bays. And it just gives the fish structure and gives the fish cover to hide in and spawn on. So no, FWC, you guys are destroying this lake. It's just this lake's trying to fight back, but I don't know how long it could withstand it. So, yeah, that's quick on that. But yeah, I mean, Lake Okeechobee. I don't hate to say it. I love to say it. It's probably like, depending on how you scale a lake, the best lake in the country right now. Is it OH Ivy? No, we're not catching 14 and 15 pounders on beds. We're not doing it. But we're also not live scoping. We're out here fishing. We're out here throwing. I'm going to guess 90% of those big bags weighed in today came on a frog. We're out here flipping. We're fishing grass. We're not catching double digits every day, but the amount of 5 to 8 pound fish in this lake right now that are being caught is truly unreal. And like I said, there might be other lakes that are doing better. There may be lakes that have had better weigh-ins in this, but I've never personally heard of them or seen them. But let me know. I mean, drop it in the comments if there have been. But it's great, and everyone's catching them, and it's just it's awesome to see. So that's why I think the lake's fishing real good. I keep getting sidetracked here. I think they caught them, like I said, people caught them all different ways, but fishing, mimicking those bluegill and also just targeting spawners. Like I said, I mean, me and Kelly caught our fish that were on beds, and I'm sure other people did as well. So it's awesome to see, and it's just been a phenomenal couple of weeks out here on Okeechobee. So if you want to get down here, do it sooner than later, because this is not going to last. It's not going to. No lake can put out numbers like this for this long. We had the Jimmy McMillan tournament with all that weight. The Wednesday nighters have been taking literally over 30 pounds to win, and like high 20s to get paid. There was a 35-9. There was a 7-boat tournament last Wednesday, and last place was 28 pounds. 35-9 won it. It's crazy. And for the record, we'll just get this out of here real quick too. This is like if you're not a local, you can click off the video now. If you are a local, you probably have been seeing my Facebook posts where I keep calling Lake Okeechobee junk. We're going to get this out on the table, so I don't have to hear about this anymore. Some of you may be in it, but most of you don't know. I am in a group text, a group chat with like 25 Okeechobee hammers. I mean, I can name them, but I'm not going to. But we've been in this chat for 8 years now, and we have a saying like "Lake's junk," and it's a joke. Whether we could weigh in 30 pounds or 25 pounds, and we still say the lake's junk. If we have a bad day, but it still took 25 pounds to get a check, the lake's still junk. We didn't do good. If it takes, excuse me, if it takes 10 pounds to get a check and the lake was really so, then the lake's junk. We just always say the lake's junk no matter what. We said the lake's junk today. Kale and Brad held up 33 pounds, and what do we say? Lake's junk. It's a joke. So on top of that, there were a lot of people out there that when the lake was tough, they were all just saying that the lake sucks, the lake's never coming back, the lake's junk, the lake's a shithole. So I took it upon myself to, when the lake shows out and we have good days, I just say, no, the lake's junk. The lake's junk. No, don't come fish. Don't come fish the lake. You just said how bad it was for the last month. And I always said the bass live in the lake. They live there. Okay. The fish do not die. They didn't leave. They're in the lake. Are they setting up the way they still used to back in the day? No. Are they living on the same structure that they used to back in the day? No, because it doesn't exist. It's different, but it's still one of the best lakes in the country. So it was almost like a screw you. Like, you're going to say the lake's junk. The lake's not junk. The lake's fishing tough. Is it in bad shape? Yes, it is. But it's still Lake Okeechobee. So when I'm sharing that it took, when Jamie Stevens had 31 pounds for fourth place in the night tournament, which is a 2.5-hour tournament, and my caption is, Lake Okeechobee is junk, don't come fish here. I can't even believe I have to do this part of the video. I am obviously joking. I have people messaging me, why are you hurting local business? Why are you talking bad about the lake you make your living on? When I'm saying the lake's junk, too bad, so sad. But it took 35.5 pounds to win the night tournament, when it took 37 pounds to win the Jimmy McMillan tournament. It's a joke. I'm being sarcastic. Don't fight me. I can't even believe I have to explain this to people. But I do. So that's where the lake junk comes from. It's a joke. Don't take it so hard, people. So yeah, Lake Okeechobee's on top of the world right now. It's one of the best lakes in the country, if not the best. For right now, how long this is going to last, I don't know. But if you want to come down and fish, let me know. I'm pretty booked up. June, I'm pretty open. Listen, be proactive. Give me a call. Put your deposits in for next year. Book out a year in advance. May is my favorite month to fish the lake. If anyone asks me my favorite month, it's May. Put it in. But it all depends what kind of fishing you want to do. Right now, it's frogging, it's flipping. There's probably some schooling action going on. You can catch them on a spook. There's some things you can do that are a little bit different. If you want to come punch mats, if the water level's right, come in the wintertime. Come in January and February. A big cold front puts them up in those mats. We can come flip mats. It's not necessarily better any month out of the year. It's just different. You could have 35 pounds in January. You can, but my whole thing is, if you fly down here, drive down here, and you get to your hotel room and you wake up in the morning and it's the day after we just got hit with a front and the air temperature dropped 30 degrees, you're going to have a really bad trip. This time of year, there's typically no real severe cold fronts. The weather starts stabling out, and it's just a lot more consistent. If you catch them here on Tuesday, they're probably going to be there Thursday, whereas in the wintertime, that's typically not always the case. So that's it. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully these late waves of bass keep coming in and intermingling with these bluegill. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Come check out Lake Okeechobee. Be proactive and book a trip next year. Even if I'm booked, or even if it's not with me, there was 20 guides that caught 30 pounds in this event. Just come down and take advantage and experience Lake Okeechobee. It's truly a one-of-a-kind lake. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed because I am beat after today, and I got to be back out there tomorrow. So hopefully they bite. I will see you guys on the next one.